What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV and we are back for some more content for you guys. And today we are going to be looking at the entire Spurs squad and seeing who we should keep, loan or sell. We're doing it in form of a tier list for you guys. So let's bring that up and see what it looks like. It's going to be an interesting episode. Obviously, we did it last year. We did it the year before, and we're going to do it again this time. And
do it every transfer window.
How many sells and loans do you reckon we're going to do? How many percentage of the squad at least?
I reckon we're looking at a solid, at least 30% of the squad. You're looking at selling or loaning, I would say.
Well, let's get into it and let's see how we go. And let's start off with the goalkeeper, the captain, Hugo Lloris. I think this is an easy one, isn't it?
Got to keep him. He just signed a new contract. I thought he was brilliant last season anyway. So we keep in Hugo Lloris, 100%.
Yeah, that's for sure. Next up is Ollie Skip. That's probably another easy one. Ollie Skip goes straight into keep, doesn't he?
Yeah. I remember if you cast your mind back a year ago, a lot of people saying there was even a possibility we still might loan him for next season, weren't there?
There were rumours as well.
I'm saying there were rumours. If we brought someone in, maybe we'd loan him out. But obviously, he started the season so well, he's got to be keep. I know he's had a big injury, but we have to keep him.
Next up, Steven Bergwijn.
I would sell him. Get money for him. I think it hasn't fully worked out. As much as I think he's a good player, I don't think it's worked out for him at Spurs, and I think that he'd benefit from more playing time somewhere else where he's going to be a consistent starter. And I think he's one of the players we can get fairly decent money for him, or at least get our money back for him. So I'm going to say sell. Yeah,
I agree with you, but the thing is, I would like to keep him. I think he's got quality there, and I think that he will turn into a pretty good player in the next few years with some consistent football behind him. But the fact of the matter is we can't get him on the pitch nearly as much as he wants and how much we want. And the players that we got are just so much, like in terms of Sonny, Kane and Kulusevski, are just so much better than him, aren't they? So.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think, in fairness as well to the managers, like, he's had some good performances like Leicester and stuff like that, but I don't think he's been consistently good enough when he has got chances, unfortunately for him.
I don't think he's ever got like the consistent chances under Conte, though.
Not under Conte, not starting anyway. That's true. He hasn't. That's just fact. Because how many games he started under Conte? I can't remember too many.
You probably can't even count them on your hand.
So that's true, but I think in other regimes, I do think he's had some starts and he hasn't done well enough.
Yeah, but you look at like players like Davis, Dyer, the players that Conte have really brought on, where under previous regimes we would want to sell them, but now is not the case. So maybe it could have been the same for Bergwijn.
Yeah, it could have been, but clearly for some reason, one reason or not, he just doesn't trust him, does he?
All right, well, Steven Bergwijn goes into sell. Next up is Sergio Reguilon.
Yeah, and I like him again, but I'm going for sell because I think he wants a new left wing back. I think out of Sessegnon and Reguilon, I think actually in a weird way, Reguilon's the better player, but Sessegnon is more suited to our system, and he's the better player in the 5-3-2 or 3-4-3. So, and I think Sessegnon might develop into a much better player as well in that position. So I'd rather keep Sessegnon, and I do think as well we can get more money for Reguilon at the moment. So I would sell Reguilon. There's going to be suitors for him, I'm sure of it. Spanish international. I think he's been all right at Tottenham. I don't think he's been a disaster by any means, but I think for what Conte wants, I think he has to sell him.
Yeah, and when we bought him, we were so excited about him, talking about like he could be one of the best left backs in Europe and stuff like that, just on the back of a big season, winning the Europa League with Seville. And look, I don't think he's, like you said, I don't think he's been a disaster, but hasn't really lived up to the reputation that he came with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's been a flop, but I think obviously he came with a massive reputation, so you're expecting more. But I still think he's a very good player, and I think he'll go on to be a very good left back for someone. But we need someone who's a bit better going forward than him, and he's just more of a natural fullback. That's reality.
Yeah. All right, I'm happy to put him into sell. Next up is Ryan Sessegnon, the other left back. So
yeah, and
we'll go to keep.
We'll keep him because he's young, 22 years of age, had a very good end to the season, and he's definitely more suited to playing the 3-4-3. So I think keep him.
I've been super impressed with him in the back end of the season. I really have. Next up is an easy one, and that's Tanguy Ndombele.
keep. And,
He goes straight into sell.
yeah,
Straight into sell.
have to get look. Conte doesn't want him at all. He's not lit up. Look, if he went away to Lyon and maybe smashed out, maybe there's a case of bring him back in, and if we can't sell him, see what he can do. But he hasn't done anything at Lyon. Clearly, Conte doesn't trust him. It was getting really toxic by the time he left as well between him and the fans. So I think best to just get what we can from him at this point.
Absolutely.
Cut our losses.
The way he just strolled off the pitch in that Morecambe game when we were desperate for a goal, it's just like, what are you doing, man? Dane Scarlett.
I would loan him.
Yeah.
Loan him because I think 18 years of age, I don't think yet he's ready for Premier League football. So I think a loan deal would do the world of good. You see Troy Parrott, how much he's come on this season. So I think hopefully Scarlett will follow suit.
Completely agree. And also the cheek of Man United trying to barge their way in and sign him.
Who do they think they are? Who do they think they are, Man United? Unbelievable. Stay well away. We're going to be, let's bid for Elanga. Show him who's boss.
Eric Dyer.
Yeah,
Surely
keep.
After the season's got to be a keep.
Yeah, he's had a great season. And I think he's got a good shout of being in the starting 11 next season as well. As much as I think we're going to look to sign probably 2 centre-backs. I still think Dyer has been that good that you can't rule him out being our number 1 centre-back in the centre. So you have to keep him.
All right. Next up is Matt Doherty.
That's a big one.
With Matt Doherty, you've got to take into account what we're going to do with Emerson Royale as well.
Yeah. So for me, I'll probably side with keeping Doherty in a weird way. As much as I think they both done good, but Doherty showed a new level in that short period that we didn't think maybe he had in him or still had from his time at Wolves. Because at Wolves, he was brilliant. We know that. He was one of the most effective wingbacks in the league during his time at Wolves. So the fact that he was able to show that under Conte, for me, especially as well, I think against teams in a low block, he could be quite effective. So when we're going really attacking,
at 30 years of age, the more years we keep him, the less likely it is we can get rid of him unless we just let him go at the end of his contract.
Well,
Emerson Royale is obviously much younger.
He's going to his last year this season.
Is he going into his last year?
We gave him a 4-year deal, and he's been here 2 years. So I think I'll keep him as a backup right wing back and sign another one, I would say, this week. If I'm picking between Emerson and Doherty, I just think in both periods, Emerson and Doherty both had 2 periods where they both shone. But I think Doherty was better.
He was better. But would you consider getting rid of both of them and bring in 2 new right wing backs?
I would.
Like a Singo and a Spence both together.
Yeah, I would consider that. I definitely would consider that. You don't want to give yourselves too much work to do, though. So, look, if we get a good offer for Doherty, I'm happy to sell him, to be honest. But I'm also quite happy to have him to keep him, have him as backup if he's going to perform like he did in that short period. I think he was great.
It's true, but that period is still a very small bite size.
But it showed what you can do. Showed what you can do under Conte. He finally got to grips with how Conte wants him to play, but I think that plus how he was playing at Wolves maybe signals to me he's worth keeping around for now.
All right, we'll keep him. Let him run down his contract. Matt Doherty. Giovanni Lo Celso, another easy one in my opinion.
Yeah, got to get rid of him.
Yeah,
get rid of him.
And as well, he's the one that you can get a bit of money on after him having that successful loan spell at Villarreal. There's a very good player in there with Giovanni Lo Celso, and it hurts me a little bit because I really believed in him when he was at Spurs, and I genuinely believe there's a really good player there, but for some reason or another it didn't work out. Conte wants to get rid, so we have to get rid.
I still believe in him. I still think he's a good player, but I don't know. I don't think he settled in properly at Tottenham. He never really got going, apart from a few periods. And I actually think it was a weird one because I think Conte, he trusted him a bit more than he trusted someone like Ndombele, and he always talked him up. But at the end of the day, I think Lo Celso himself is the one who wanted to leave and wanted out. So if that's the case, you have to get rid of him. And again, you have to cut our losses, I think.
Next up is the Viking, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and he's got to stay, doesn't he?
Of course, you have to keep Pierre. He's been fantastic this season, really consistent, back to his best, I feel. And I think Conte really trusts him as well, so we have to keep him.
Agreed. Next up, Jack Clark. He's got to go, surely.
Well, yeah, Sunderland are looking at again. They want him back, but whether
He had a
they,
successful period there, did he?
I think in Sunderland he did all right actually. I think didn't he get an assist in the semi-final of the playoffs or something? I think they like him there. Hasn't done anything in any other loan spells or any appearances for Tottenham to convince me. Then again, he is still very, very young though. He's still what, 21, 22. But then he's not so young where you're like, you wouldn't take an offer if it came in. So would I loan him or sell him? I'll probably sell him at this point. I think it's probably worth getting rid of him. If we did spend 10 million on him.
A lot of money on him. A lot of money. But
actually, I guess, that shouldn't base a young player on whether they should stay. It's whether you think they're going to be good, not how much money you spend on them.
But on the flip side of that, I know Sessegnon probably did show more than what Jack Clark did, but people were ready to get rid of Sessegnon last year.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's proof in the pudding that with these young players that, you know, they take different times to develop, and maybe we should stick by these young players unless throwing them away a bit too quickly.
So maybe one more loan deal and see how he does. Maybe Sunderland in the Championship.
All right, we'll give him a loan. Papa Matasar, which is an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. Obviously, he's 19 years of age. We signed him a year ago. And obviously had one more season at Metz. Played 33 times, but he didn't start all those games.
Conte did try bring him back last day of January window.
That's what we've heard. Yeah, Conte tried to bring him back, and he's going to give him a chance to prove himself in the summer. I would say loan. Because he's young, and I want to see him in a better team, because Metz obviously got relegated, so it's hard for a 19-year-old to be judged with that kind of quality around him for a relegated side. Obviously, we signed him off the back of his performances for Metz the season before, but the fact that we got Højbjerg, Bentancur, Skip already, and we're looking to get another one. It's going to be difficult for him to find consistent playing time. So I would look to loan him either in the Premier League or a better team somewhere else, even if it's abroad. Look to loan him to a better team, but I'll probably look to loan him.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get a loan in England, to be honest. I really would. He's obviously part of the Senegal squad that won the AFCON as well.
Still only 19, still very young.
He's very young, so yeah, I agree with you. Loan. We'll put him on loan. Next up is Troy Parrott on the back of a very good loan spell at MK Dons. Finally, we're starting to see some sort of player in there for Troy Parrott. Surely it's got to be another loan deal.
Yeah.
Championship this time.
Yeah, hopefully a higher level. And see what he can do when he's played in the Championship. He's had Championship loans before and it hasn't worked out. But
he's a bit older now, though.
Yeah, and he's actually starting to show form in League One. A lot of fans, the MK Dons fans, really liked him. So hopefully a high level, another successful loan spell, and I think he might potentially come back to the first team the season after. Although there are rumours that apparently Tottenham don't think he is going to be a first teamer in the future. But we'll have to look. It's up to him to prove them wrong.
Absolutely.
Like Harry Kane did. I'm sure they probably thought the same about Kane at times.
Absolutely. Next up is Alfie Devine. It's obviously rumoured that we will be loaning him out this summer. So I guess that makes the decision up for us.
Yeah, it's what, is he 17 now? Still very young. He's a kid. So
he scored a goal for Tottenham.
Yeah, unbelievable. And it was a decent one as well. So I think I would like to see how he does on a loan spell. It's because whenever I read the reports of the youngsters, they're under 23s or whatever, and whenever he's playing, he always seems to be outstanding. It seems to be like he's the best player on the park every time. Yeah. So I would like to see a loan spell for him and see how he gets on, and I'd be intrigued. I think I've got a feeling about Devine. Like, he's one of these players that could be a Premier League player before as a teenager. Yeah. I've got just got a feeling about him.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you there. In terms of Joe Rodon up next, I mean, just got to get rid at this point.
Yeah, you could argue for a loan, but he is 24
years old.
He wants to be playing.
No manager's ever fancied him, even though he puts in big performances for his country. In terms of his age and his kind of development, it seems like he's all physically there and everything. Just for some reason or another, managers, one after the other, just don't seem to fancy him.
Yeah, and it'll be good to try and get some money for him. So I would go for, I would go for some. Obviously, we paid 12 million for him. I don't know how much of that we'll get back. But he does play well for... Look, he is young, and he does play well for Wales, so that will be taken into account. And considering as well, we could potentially get between 5 to 10 million for Carter Vickers. So surely you would think somewhere in that bracket as well for Roden.
I think maybe even a bit more for Roden. Maybe 8, 9, 10 million, something around that.
I said 5 to 10.
Yeah, 5 to 10. Emerson Royale. Well, if we're keeping Doherty, obviously we're selling Royale then.
That's what I'm going for, yeah. I think, again, we can probably get more money for Emerson than Doherty. I think at their best, Doherty's been better than Emerson in the short periods. But to be fair to Emerson, I've got to give him his credit when it's been really difficult games like City away, Liverpool away, Arsenal. He has stepped up and played really well in those games. So you got to give him credit there, but I do think I just don't think he's ever going to be what Conte needs him to be in that role. As much as I think he's actually shown he can be a decent player, so I would sell him. I do think we can get close to our money back for him because of his good performances. But if it is the other way around and we sell Doherty and keep Emerson because he's a bit younger, maybe we feel like we can mould him. I'm not going to be angry with that either, but if I was to choose, I'd probably just choose selling Emerson and then bringing in Jed Spence as the younger one.
Is it a case of maybe, you bring in an attacking wing-back that proper suits Conte's system, and then you can use Emerson maybe in the games where, like the Man City games, in the Liverpool games, in the big games where maybe a more defensive approach could be wanting?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done well defensively, I think, from a lot of the season, to be honest. So... As I said, like if you were to sell Doherty and keep Emerson, that was also a way you could look at it because Emerson's younger. He's still 22, 23 now. So maybe his value could grow, whereas Doherty, even if he keeps playing well, his value is not going to grow much more. So you could do that and maybe sign a more attack-minded wing-back and think and bring Emerson in for those games. But I've got a feeling that Doherty is more suited right now to what Conte wants, and he wants players right now. So that's why I've gone for keeping Doherty, but you could go the other way, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what? I think, because Emerson, everyone's been literally shitting on him the whole season, and us as well, and he hasn't done well. But, players take time to settle into the Premier League and to show their true worth, and especially under the stewardship of Antonio Conte and stuff like that, he's going to improve. I'm pretty sure he's going to improve, and I don't think that we can take maybe his first season as what he's going to be like over the next few years. Yeah.
I would say, though, in counter-argument to that, we have Reguilon in cell, and I think he's probably even more suited to the role than Emerson is. And we have him in cell because we don't think he's suited enough. So, I don't know. I think I've seen some good things from Emerson, but I don't think I've seen enough to convince me he's ever going to be a fantastic wing-back. But I do think he's a good fullback, so I do think we can sell him.
All right. We'll leave it at that then. Next up is Ben Davis. I mean...
Yeah, keep him.
Yeah, after this season, he's got to be in keep, surely.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't start next season, he's a great player to have around the squad. He's a great player to have as backup as well.
Yeah, I think he's done brilliant on the left centre-back spot. Really suits him down to a T. He's done brilliantly there for Wales in the past as well. I remember when they got to the semi-final of the Euros, he was brilliant in that tournament, playing left centre-back. So I think he's found his calling now at Tottenham. He's really starting to show his true worth, and a lot of people...
Taken 8 years.
Yeah, but look, a lot of people are ready to get rid of him, and here he is now a proper starter in the team. We'll see next season if it's still the case, but for sure, for the start of the season, I expect him to be in the 11.
Rodrigo Bentancur, obviously, keep because we just signed him.
And he's great.
And he's great, obviously. Brian Hill.
Yeah, I'd loan him again. I think he's going to go back to Valencia for another year. That's my prediction. That's what they say. He don't want him. I think he's done okay there. He started really well, and then he kind of fleed out a bit. He
got a couple of injuries.
Yeah, so that's probably why. Well, from what I've seen of him, even in his time in Valencia, I think the guy's got a lot of talent. Is he Premier League ready? Not yet. Is he ever going to be Premier League ready? That's a big question mark. We don't know. We don't know.
Talent though.
Yeah, he's got loads of talent, and I reckon he could be a success in the Premier League. But I think it's going to take time for someone like him to really adjust. So another loan, get some more minutes under his belt, really find himself, and then come back a better player. I don't think I would sell him just yet. Because we did sign him for big money.
We did 25 million plus Lamela.
Yeah.
Which looks like a terrible deal at the moment. But I think, I agree. I'd put him in loan. I think he's got a high ceiling, Brian Hill. I really do. I think his dribbling ability is absolutely unbelievable. And every time I see him play, he does excite me. He does excite me. So I'd like to see him come back to Spurs one day. I do think he can, at some point, have the physical attributes if he bulks himself up to thrive in the Premier League, because I think he's that talented. So, let's put him in loan. And there was that clip, wasn't there, when Valencia won the cup this year? The whole of the city of Valencia packed with fans, all singing for Brian Hill to stay.
Seems like a
And
fan
that's how much
favourite.
they rate him over there.
Seems like a fan favourite there.
Next up is Harry Winks.
Yeah, sell him. We need room as well for other centre mids. He's been poor. Doesn't seem to be able to fit the system which Conte wants. He sounds like he wants to leave. Sell him.
Yeah. Heung-min Son, big up.
Sell him, yeah.
He goes straight into
golden
key.
boot.
Golden boot. Next one's going to be a very interesting one. That's Japhet Tanganga.
Well, last year, I wanted to loan him. We didn't loan him, and he stayed, and he played all right, and then injuries got better of him, and he was putting in some poor performances. How old is he now? Must be 23 now.
Something like that, yeah.
I think I would sell him.
Sell him.
I think I would sell him. I'll get some money for him. I don't know. Look, we could loan him, but then he's coming back as a 24-year-old. He could be good enough, but then again, if he doesn't perform well on his loan, then I think his stock might never be higher than now. The only other thing to consider is he's just had a bad injury, hasn't he? So it'd be very difficult to sell him probably right now while he's injured. So maybe a loan deal is probably better in that case. The thing is, let's be honest, if he wasn't an academy product, right, you would probably want to sell him. If he was a signing, if his name was Ricardo Roca, you'd probably want to sell him. Let's be honest.
I think that Tanganga, in a few bite sizes that we've seen him, I mean, we've seen him perform in big level games. We've seen him perform in Liverpool games, in Man City games. And I think that his obviously got big injury problems. He seems to get injured a lot. If he can wipe that away from his game and really continue his development and get like a considerable amount of game time, maybe in the Premier League or for a good championship side, I think it could do him the world of good. I really do. And we've seen big performances from him, maybe not on a consistent basis, but I'd like to see what he does on a loan. And if his loan doesn't work out, then I would probably look to sell him. But I'll give him one more year.
Yeah, I mean, I like Japhet. I do. I think he's a great. I do think he's a decent player, and I think he's really fully Tottenham. He's passionate about Spurs, which makes me feel bad for wanting to sell him. But I think we probably give him a bit of leeway because he is an academy product. As much like I do think this is a signing we made a couple of years ago for like between 5 and 10 million, we'll probably all want to sell him right now. But I'm willing to put him in loan for give him another year and see how he does on a loan deal.
Right, Jaff in the loan section. Next up, Dejan Kulusevski. Obviously, we're going to be keeping the ginger from Sweden.
Yeah,
absolutely unbelievable.
What a signing he has been.
Brilliant signing.
What a signing.
Lucas Moura. We are selling Steven Bergwijn.
Yeah, which means if we sell Lucas, we'll probably need to buy another two wingers, which is a lot. And considering Hill's also going out. So right now we're left with Kulu, Son and Lucas in those positions.
I wouldn't mind keeping Lucas, just let him run down his contract and let him go back to Brazil or something. Yeah,
I still think he's got a lot to give, Lucas Moura. I think...
But you're always left wanting more from Lucas.
I know, he's just never going to be what we want him to be. So that's the frustrating thing when it comes to Lucas.
Sorry to you Moura sexuals out there.
Look, I like Lucas. I got nothing against him. Like, I think he's a good player, but I just don't think he's a great player, unfortunately. He's got things that are stopping him being a great player that he's never gonna change, I think, especially at this age.
Between him and Kulu, man. Just look at that difference.
It's massive. I would, in an ideal world, I would actually probably sell him, but I guess if it leaves us too much work to do,
it does seem like that, doesn't it?
Because if we got 20 million for him, then add that to the budget and probably go for another winger. I'll probably would sell him in an ideal world, you know. But then we are looking to sign another 2 wingers, and I guess Lucas isn't a terrible option in the squad. So on that,
I mean, after this year, he's only got 1 year left in his contract, right?
So he's entering his final year. I wouldn't give him a new contract.
I think he's entering his final year. Let me just double check that. But he doesn't have long left. I don't think it's either 1 or 2 years.
Then again, this is the best time to try and get money for him, I guess. Then in that aspect, if that's the case.
But will anyone stump up the money for him?
Yeah, I think people would. I think he's good enough that people might pay 15 to 20.
24.
So there's another 2 years left. I think he's good enough that a team would pay 15 to 20 million for him now. I don't think that'll be the case in a year's time. But I think now it probably would be, because I think he's got quality. But I just think we could do better. Maybe sign a younger player in that who's more hungry. As much as he's a hard worker, and I think he's a good player, I just think we can do better. So I would sell him.
Does it leave us too much work to do? And is he a good player to have around the squad?
That's another question. It leaves us probably needing to sign another 2 wingers. You could even argue with Bergwijn and Lucas staying, we need another one. So maybe it does leave us too much work to do.
If we shift to a 3-5-2 next season,
then it's fine.
Then he's not really needed.
No, but then where does Kulu play? That's a different question.
Kulu could play number 10 behind the strikers.
It's probably look to sell him, to be honest. I think if we get an offer, you would sell.
I'm actually not bothered if we keep him or sell him. But if we keep him, then we need to, obviously replace him. So let's put him in sell. Lucas Moura. Thanks for the memories, but goodbye. Christian Romero.
Keep him.
That's an obvious one. Davinson Sanchez.
That's an interesting one.
I'm going to go stick my neck out on the line and say keep.
You're going to keep him?
Yeah.
I like Sanchez. I think he's done well this season. And I think in a back 3, he's much more suited to playing in a back 4, actually. And I think it definitely suits him more. But is he ever going to have the distribution or the quality on the ball that would make him a real contender to be in the 11 for Conte? Probably not.
I think he's more than good enough to be a backup for Romero. I think when you look at the players that we're looking to bring in a left centre-back and a central centre-back. If we sell Sanchez, we're going to have to bring in another centre-back as well. We're going to need to bring in 3. So I think...
What if you get a 30 million offer for him, though?
30 million? Yeah, it's an interesting... I mean, we'd still need to sign another centre-back. And are we really going to sign 3 centre-backs this summer?
I guess if you're loaning out Tanganga, you probably need to keep Sanchez.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put him in keep.
And I'm much more comfortable having Sanchez as a backup than Tanganga.
And he's done well, to be fair, Sanchez, when he's come in. Again, I do think we could do better, but I think if we're signing 2 centre-backs already, I'm happy to keep Sanchez.
Harry Kane.
Keep.
Obviously.
Signing a new contract, hopefully. Crossing our fingers.
And last but not least, Harvey White.
I would probably sell him.
Sell him?
Yeah, I mean, how old is he now? 20?
21, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could loan him, I guess. But again, he hasn't done much on his loan deals. Whenever he's gone out on loan, he didn't play a lot of the time.
He's 20, yeah. He's 20. He's only had 1 loan deal.
Oh, I'll loan him out again, see how he does. Give him another opportunity.
And I believe, in the last couple of months, there has been kind of reports out of him at the academy saying that he's doing really well in his development and stuff like that.
Is there?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of reports like that.
All right, if that's the case, then loan him out, see how he does.
Yeah, I'd 100% put him in loan. 100%. I think I've seen him play a couple of times, and I really like the look of him. And obviously, he's a free kick specialist as well, which this team desperately needs. So I'd like to see how he develops. I really would.
I think it's probably more than 30% we've chosen here. Bloody hell.
Well, let's go through it. Let's go into keep first. So we've kept Hugo Lloris, Ollie Skip, Ryan Sessegnon, Eric Dyer, Matt Doherty, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Ben Davis, Rodrigo Bentancur, Heung-min Son, Dejan Kulusevski, Christian Romero, Davinson Sanchez, and Harry Kane.
How many players is that in total?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
We're cutting the squad down to 13 players. Okay.
And we've loaned out Dane Scarlett, Jack Clark, Papa Matasar, Troy Parrott, Alfie Devine, Brian Hill, Japhet Tanganga and Harvey White. And we're selling Bergwijn, Reguilon, Ndombele, Lo Celso, Roden, Emerson, Winks and Lucas.
How many players are we selling? Is that 8?
Yeah.
8 or 9 there? 8 players there. And we're loaning out 8 as well. So 16 players. So 16 plus 13 is 29. But
a lot of those players didn't get any minutes last season. When you look at Harvey White, Alfie Devine, Troy Parrott, Papa Matasar, Jack Clark, Dane Scarlett.
We're getting rid of 55% of the squad.
It's what we've needed, the painful rebuild, my friend.
Can we do that in one summer? 55%? Is it realistic?
Well,
no, I mean, 13
Conte,
players.
Conte said he wants 6 to 8 players, right?
Yeah. So that kind of if we have a squad, so you have 13 plus 8, so that'll be 21 players. That's enough. But so if you go back, can you bring it back on? So if we're looking at this, Winks leaving, that leaves us with Højbjerg, Skip and Bentancur. So probably 2, at least 1, that's for sure.
I mean, you'd want like a kind of box-to-box one or a ball-playing one and a Christian Eriksen.
Well, to be fair, we have 3 kind of defensive ones. So you definitely want one more who's better on the ball,
You'd
more
want
creative one.
Yeah, so like an Eriksen type.
Something like that, yeah. So there's 1 centre mid. And then you're definitely looking at least 2 attackers, wherever it be. I think... Yeah, or you could argue 3 because you need a backup to Kane as well. You could argue 3 attackers.
Unless you bring in like someone like Gabriel Jesus, who's a bit versatile.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You probably need to sign someone who's more of a winger/forward, or you can even bring in 3 wingers, and if need be, Son can go up top. You could do that.
Yeah,
which we've been criticised for in the past. So big summer ahead if that is to be the case. I mean, looking at the sales, how many of them are realistically not going to be sold?
There's a potential.
There's Lucas, I can imagine staying. Emerson,
I can imagine Lucas and Emerson. That's about it.
Everyone else is pretty much definitely going, aren't they? Maybe Reguilon, but I reckon he's probably going to go as well. So, I mean, look there. And also the loans. How realistically won't go out on loan? Maybe Tanganga. That's it. All of them are definitely probably not going to be here. Maybe Papa Matasar.
Yeah.
So you're potentially adding an extra 4 to the squad from those maximum. So either way, it's going to be a big summer, isn't it?
Yeah, we know that. I mean, that is why ENIC have ploughed in this money, because Antonio Conte has hit hard the home truths, and we know what we need to do this summer. It's a big job.
Wow. We'll let everyone know people's opinions.
All right. Well, let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on our keep, loan and sell. And do yours in the comment section below. I'd really be interested to see what your opinions are on this. So looking forward to seeing that. Thank you, everyone, for watching today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.